Welcome to our podcast, Voices in Tension, Coloniality, Communication, and Intercultural Language Communication. We are Ana Ruiz, Claudia Gutierrez, and Juan Felipe Arias. What if the way we teach languages is not only about communication, but also about maintaining certain power structures?
That's a powerful idea, because language education policies often present English as a neutral tool for global communication, but in reality, they may reproduce deeper inequalities.
Exactly. Today, we want to explore how coloniality and communication persists as dimensions in language education policies, especially in contexts like Colombia.
Let's start with coloniality. It refers to how colonial patterns of power continue shaping our societies, even after colonialism has formally ended.
And in language education, this shows up when certain languages, like English, are positioned as superior, modern, or necessary for success.
At the same time, communication is often framed in purely functional terms. Policies suggest that learning English is essential to participate in the global economy.
But according to Miranda et al., 2024, multilingual policies in Colombia reveal tensions between global expectations and local linguistic realities. These policies don't always fully recognize the diversity of languages that students bring to the classroom.
So, communication is not just about exchanging information, because it's also about whose voices are legitimized.
That connects with what Ofelia Garcia explains. Translanguaging refers to the multiple discursive practices in which bilinguals engage in order to make sense of their worlds.
In other words, students already communicate in complex multilingual ways, but policies often ignore that.
Here is where coloniality and communication intersect. While English is promoted as a language of opportunity, other languages, especially indigenous ones, are often marginalized.
Yes, and that creates a hierarchy of languages. Lopez Urbina and Bonilla Mora argued that language teaching in Colombia has followed hegemonic models that overlook the ecology of languages.
In other words, students already communicate in complex multilingual ways, but policies often ignore that.
Let's think about a classroom scenario. A student speaks Spanish, an indigenous language, and is learning English, but classroom participation is only valued when it happens in English.
So even though the student is multilingual, their full communicative repertoire is not recognized.
And that is exactly where coloniality persists, not only in what languages are taught, but in how communication is defined and evaluated.
It sends a message. To be heard, you must speak in a certain way.
And that can affect identity, confidence, and participation.
So the question is, how can we challenge these dynamics?
And importantly, it questions dominant assumptions about communication. Instead of seeing English as the only valid medium, it recognizes multiple ways of meaning making.
And this is where translanguaging becomes a powerful tool. As Garcia 2017 suggests, students use their linguistic resources to understand and express their own ideas.
And Lopez Urbina and Bonilla Mora emphasized the importance of embracing an ecology of languages, where languages interact and support each other rather than compete.
In an intercultural classroom, communication is not restricted, it is expanded.
Well, teachers can encourage students to use multiple languages, validate local and indigenous knowledge, redefine participation beyond English-only norms.
This transforms the classroom into a space where identities are not suppressed, but negotiated and valued.
And where communication reflects real-life multilingual practices, not artificial boundaries.
So, when we look at language education policies, we need to ask,
are they truly promoting communication or controlling it?
Are they empowering students or reproducing colonial hierarchies?
Because coloniality persists not only in which languages are prioritized,
but also in how communication itself is defined.
And if we want more just and inclusive education, we need to rethink both.
Through intercultural approaches, we can move toward classrooms where all languages and all cultures and all voices matter. And this is the end of our episode for today. As a final reflection, our role as teachers is to become agents of change. Change can start small in our classrooms through the ways we value our students' voices, languages, and identities. We cannot remain only as policy implementers. We need to question, to challenge, and to critically engage with those policies. Most importantly, we must raise our voices in favor of our students, advocating for more inclusive, intercultural, and just language education practices.